So, hey everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast, the nerdy podcast hosted by two northern nerds. I'm one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm the other Paul. How are you doing today, Sam?
I'm good. How are you?
Tired a little bit, but not too bad.
I'm just stressed. I've been decorating. I hate paint, and I've still got glossing to go yet. So this is a welcomed break.
A little bit of a distraction there.
A little bit. So this one we think is going to be a bit of a lengthy one because we've got a big discussion on our top fives.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kick off with the news. And the only really news I thought of importance was the Marvel announcement yesterday.
Yeah, it was, like I say, it dropped out of the blue as Marvel's been doing these days. No pre-warning. The only thing, like I say, I was about to talk to before that announced was the reveal of the outfit for Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, when that was released. I don't know if that was meant to be released or if it was like some paparazzi photographs, but the outfit, it looks amazing, so I'm quite excited for that.
Really excited. Kamala's incredibly special too. I think because I followed her from like day one when the first issue came out, and I've like often tried to like catch up with her in the New Avengers, and I love her. She's just one of us, and she's a goofy teen who's just trying to figure it out. I just love her. But yes, so Marvel hit us all by surprise. I was painting yesterday and literally gets on my phone and just hundreds of notifications that they released a very lovely video of the first 10 years.
There was a tear in the eye.
Not lying.
Stan's voice. It broke us a little bit out. I'm not going to lie.
I had a bit of a quiver, but I was just trying to like make sure I was like taking it in and seeing what it was. And it was the first 10 years of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next phase of Marvel. And boy, is it exciting. Like Marvel was like, do you know what? You've had a really shit 2020. So we're going to give you the best 2021 we possibly can. And I have the list here, so I'm going to run through just 2021 first. So first of all, we've got Black Widow on July. It better come out. July 9th, 2021, we will have Black Widow.
Do you know as well, just to go, sorry to cut you off.
No, sorry.
I think it was only a week or 2 weeks ago where the official release was meant to be a year ago to the day when Black Widow was meant to hit the pictures. God. So that's how long we've been waiting as well.
We've been waiting some time. But the second after that is Shang-Chi, which is September 3rd, 2021. I'm very much looking forward to that, but I can very much see it being the typical Marvel origin story.
Yeah. To move into the next phase of
who cares? I thoroughly enjoy how they do an origin story. Next one was it didn't say the Eternals, it just said Eternals, November 5th, 2021.
And we saw the first clip of the Eternals as well, which was not what I was expecting as well. That they're not looking what I thought they would look like as well, so that's exciting.
Angelina Jolie looked badass, mind. And people have some mixed opinions on it, but anything you put her in, she just looks fantastic. I just cannot wait to see what she does and who she's playing, because I don't really know the Eternals very well. No. I don't particularly want to jump into something. I want to go in the film with no
preconcept.
Exactly. And if that's not enough, if the 3 films I've already mentioned was not enough, Marvel is giving you Spider-Man No Way From Home on December 17th, 2021.
It's been a delay because it was meant to come out in November as well, wasn't it? So I think it's been put back a month.
Well, because Eternals was meant to be out, everything that's on that list was meant to be out last year.
Yeah.
So probably, most likely. But yes, that is 4. Count them. No, that's 3, Sam. Count them 4 Marvel films.
We'll get there. Don't worry, guys.
4 Marvel films for 2021. That is not including the 2 series that you've already had, and the one that's on its way.
Yep, Loki.
Which is Loki coming out in June.
June, yeah. I think it's June, yeah.
So we're moving into 2022 and kicking it off with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness on March 25th, 2022. Cannot wait.
Yes, I think that's going to be, like, I know it's Doctor Strange, but I think it's going to be like a Spider-Man as well. So yeah. So I think them two are going to be interesting. So them two playing off each other will be quite.
I think whatever happens in Spider-Man with their version of the multiverse is going to mix into, and you're not really having that much time to wait either.
Yes.
Then we're going into Thor: Love and Thunder, which is on May 6th, 2022.
Which I'm looking forward to, but again, it's either going to be a complete hot mess with the amount of things that's going to be going on, or it'll be like Ragnarok and just blow your head away.
Yeah, I think Black Ragnarok was a massive surprise for Marvel fans, but yes, can't wait for that one. And then we go into The Marvels, November 11th, 2022.
Now that was a big surprise.
Huge, and I don't really know what it means. For someone who is a Captain Marvel, like huge Captain Marvel fan, I didn't quite get what it meant.
Are we getting the Marvels before Miss Marvel TV show, or is a TV show coming out afterwards? Because it could be the origin story, or it could be her joining up with Carol. Depends on what happens, really.
It could be. I mean, she gets her name from, but she's given her name from Carol. So in case if she takes it, she's actually given it to her by Carol, because she's essentially, Kamala Khan she's a nerd.
Yeah.
And she writes fan fiction for the Avengers, and Carol Danvers is her favorite Avengers, so she's honored to be given the name by Carol.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, obviously, as a Carol Danvers fan. I just did not know what to take from it yesterday. I was like, okay.
I like the logo as well, because they released the logo. That was quite not different, but in a way that I don't think Marvel's done before as well, like indicating both of them at the same time.
Yeah, it looked fun. Then we've got, I think this title is so cool, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's coming out on February 17th, 2023. So you're only getting 3 Marvel films. So we're going back to normal again. But yeah, February 17th to 2023 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Which will have Kang the Conqueror as the bad guy in, which is very exciting.
Awesome beans. And then we've got the one that I'm dreading the most, because I just don't know what it means going forward and what that film's actually going to in having, but Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, July 8th, 2023. It's going to be a sad one, regardless. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a celebration type thing. Because I know there was rumours years ago, well, not years ago, that the next one was going to be involving Neymar, and like I say, it was the rumoured title was supposed to be the two Kings or something like that. So with unfortunately the passing, they've probably had to change it around. But there's been rumours kicking about that Killmonger's going to be coming back to help with the loss. But again, I'm excited for it. But I think it'll either be a celebration, but also kind of like a sad one.
I very much trust Ryan Coogler, who's doing who did the first Black Panther, and who's going to be doing this one. I think he'll do him justice, and I love the fact that Marvel are not recasting him. I don't know if that's going to be a forever thing, because he is quite quintessential to Marvel. But for now, I think it was the best thing that they could do to honor him was to retire the character for now.
Yeah.
Having Shuri as Black Panther would be fantastic. I think she's well deserving of the title of it.
Yeah.
Killmonger being in it, at this point I just don't care. I really enjoyed his character. I don't care how I think someone said this on the chat as well. I don't care how they bring him back. Just do it, because he was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was really cool. I liked him.
Yes.
And
it's with Marvel and the bad guys though as well. All of them kind of have like a thing where you think, it kind of makes sense why they're doing it, but doing it in the wrong way type thing.
But yeah, you're right. It's no different than Charles and Xavier, like we talked last week. So, the Martin Luther and Malcolm X connection. It's the same. They want the same thing, but just done in completely different. That they'll do it in different ways.
Yeah.
And in a way, he did. Like, he was right in a way. Like, Wakanda needed to branch out and help. They just couldn't keep everything to themselves like they had done. He just went around in a really odd way, a very dangerous way. And then to end well, it's not to end it off, but the end of the list with the dates on it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is May 5th, 2023. I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait.
Getting it a lot sooner than I was expecting, especially with because with the whole hoo-ha with James Gunn and with them doing stuff for DC now, I thought we were waiting a few more years for that. But so I'm a little bit more excited now. So yes, hopefully they do. Like I say, and I know I said I think on the podcast, one of the other episodes, that Mark Hamill's supposed to be hinted to play, and I actually saw an article wrote that Mark Hamill is going to be in the Christmas special that they're doing as well.
That's
so,
awesome.
so I'm building up hope that we're going to get Mark Hamill in the Marvel universe.
However way it happens, I don't care.
Yes.
But the last one that didn't have a date, just had a promotional picture of it, was the Fantastic Four. Oh, I swear to God, if they do not announce that John Krasinski is going to be playing Reed Richards, I will go to Los Angeles and burn the place down.
Do you think, though, with Fantastic Four not getting a date, are they just going to put it somewhere within the other date, the movie releases, or is it going to be afterwards? Because it would just be like Marvel to just go, you wanted Fantastic Four? It's out 6 months' time.
He is Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I really do hope. I am holding out hope that John Krasinski is playing Reed Richards. I've been wanting that from day one. When they said that the Fantastic Four was coming in, I will be elated if Emily Blunt is playing Sue Storm, because I actually thought she would have been a very good Carol Danvers as well.
Yeah.
So I would be elated if it was actually them two. And especially, like, I know the husband and wife, and they have a chemistry, and they are just like the perfect couple. They're just lovely to look at. But in Quiet Place,
yes,
they work really well together.
They had a good chemistry. Well, like I say, with them being married, they should have that chemistry. But like I say, I think if they cast anything, the problem they've got now with Marvel, if they don't cast that, and if it goes wrong, the backlash, because they couldn't take it back.
Yeah.
But even if I know we've had some bad Fantastic Four movies, some people love them. Not for me.
But never watched them. Never seen them.
They could make not a bad Fantastic Four movie, but if they get the casting right, it can then lead into more. Because I think the big one that Marvel will struggle with is not Reed or Sue. It's going to be Ben.
Yeah, it's always going to be Ben.
Yeah,
it's always regardless who has a hold of it, it's always going to be Ben that causes the problems. But again, in Marvel I trust, and I do believe that if anyone can do it, it's Kevin Feige. I think he's visionary for what he's already created. Like, but look at Korg. Like,
yes,
it can be done.
Yeah.
It's just got to be done. Wow. Like, it's. I think they can pull it off, and it just. Do we need to see an origin story, or do we need to know? Like, do we need to know how it happened? Can it not just be like Spider-Man? When Spider-Man came into the MCU, we didn't need, the Uncle Ben situation again.
Yeah.
He was already Spider-Man. Can it not be the same for the Fantastic Four?
True.
Or do people need it explaining?
I think for this Marvel, because if they don't explain it, they've got to explain where they've been and why they haven't been involved.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what the Marvels, because with Spider-Man, they didn't need that because he's a young boy, he's learning these powers, and we know that. But with the Fantastic Four, it raises too many questions, like, right, you've got this fantastic team, where the fuck have they been?
You've got Fantastic Four.
Yeah, sorry, Fantastic Four. Yeah, sorry, the Fantastic Team, the Fantastic Four. I think they've got to give us an origin story. I think now with any new superhero they bring in, we're going to get that origin story from most of them now.
Yeah, that's true. Because I had a very in-depth conversation with our friend Emma yesterday about it, and I was like, you're not just catering to the nerds anymore. You catering to the outside people, like that, the people who have not like read the comics or read up on these things, are just watching it as a general viewer, that's who else you're catering for. So yeah, you're probably right, an origin story is needed. I was just holding out hope because I'm really not bothered.
True, but they could do it quite simply. But that's why I thought they might have done it in, like, say, WandaVision or something like an off, like not part of the actual Fantastic Four film.
Oh, the amount
do
of
it as
times
part of another thing just to show, oh, this team of people are in space.
Yeah.
They're blasted with gamma rays, and now this magic team. That would work just as well as going back and saying all these things.
The amount of times during WandaVision I was like, it's Reed. The physics, the scientist, it's Reed Richards. It's Reed Richards.
Sean, sorry, Sean, mentioning you again. The amount of abuse he gave me for keep mentioning Reed Richards.
Honestly, thought it was going to be Reed, and it didn't happen. And it was it a wasted opportunity? I don't know, because I still hold out that we didn't need anyone to come into WandaVision to help out the storyline. The story was about Wanda.
Yes,
that was it, and it was understanding Wanda's grief and getting into where we're going to be heading into with the multiverse. So I don't know if it was needed, but I would have thoroughly enjoyed seeing him on screen. But if it wasn't John Krasinski, then I swear to God, I would have thrown the telly out the window.
So when you look at it now, there's not many actors that you could see playing Reed Richards.
So there's been a couple names thrown about, and not John Krasinski's name, but Glenn, I can't think of his surname, but from Always Sunny plays Dennis Reynolds.
All right. I've seen the names of the Always Sunny cast playing the Fantastic Four as well, and Danny DeVito playing Ben Grimm. That made us laugh.
I would pay serious money for that just to happen. I really would. I would really pay good money for that.
To be fair, the cast seemed really like good spirits, so they might have a Halloween special where they're all dressed up as one episode. Would be quite
that would be cool.
Ended in, but no. Like I say, that was the big surprise from Marvel yesterday, letting us know about that. So yeah, but they've done it in a way where it wasn't like everything individually. It was kind of like with that 10 years video and hearing Stan's voice saying about the family and stuff. Okay, I'm getting emotional now just thinking about it. It was done such a surprise in a way, because like I say, I think a few people posted on their Facebook page the video, and you were like thinking, oh, what's this? Oh, it's just another promotional video for potentially Black Widow, because I know there's been a few bouncing around, but when you watched it, you're like, holy shit, and especially with the clip of the Eternals.
You didn't expect it, did you?
No, but as well, talking about Shang-Chi, I don't know how good this rumor is, but apparently, it's went out of my head now. The name of it was in a Netflix show. The Fist guy, what's it called?
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. That's supposed to be going to be a starting block for bring Iron Fist. But
back into it. They're not having him.
But not the cast from the Netflix. It's supposed to be a new one for this one. Because I know there's rumours like flying about, big style about Daredevil now, because some of the cast members from Daredevil's been posting old Daredevil pictures on the Instagram. So the rumours are flying about that Daredevil's going to be making an appearance very soon.
I've heard Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, one of them two. And I think Charlie Cox is perfect as Daredevil. Daredevil is one of my go-to favorite characters. Like I loved him, and I loved him so much that I never watched the third series because I thought they were going to ruin it. Iron Fist, I thoroughly enjoy Iron Fist as a comic book character, but the show was not good. Luke Cage was not good. Jessica Jones was just infuriating.
Yeah, I like the first season of Jessica Jones.
Only liked it because of David Tennant.
Oh, apparently he's coming back. I
hope so.
Yeah. So I think Marvel are supposed to be big fans of like the Purple Man and the way he played it. So I've heard She-Hulk as well. So that's supposed to be.
Yes, but she has her own show coming out. The actress who was in, oh my God, what's it called? It was the one where it was all about doppelgangers.
Alias, was it?
No, that's Alias. Jennifer Garner.
No, not Alias. I remember the show now. Yes, it was on Sky One, wasn't it?
She's supposed to be playing Jennifer Waters, which until I see her, I'm not going to hold any judgment.
It's going to be heavily CGI though, isn't it? So
the thing is with Jennifer, she prefers to be She-Hulk. There's no reason for her to hide who she is, so, and she doesn't, and so they're going to have to constantly have her green.
True.
But
that's why I thought they would have went with someone like Ronda Rousey, I think, because they have the build already.
The build, yes, the build, but is the acting ability behind it?
She wasn't that bad in the Expendables,
she campaigned for Captain Marvel, and I was like, no, you look, yes, you could look the part, but your acting abilities could be absolutely appalling. And I've heard you're on the mic at WWE. Your mic skills are not that great.
No, the wrestling skills
Ronda Rousey.
Better, but yeah.
So that's the Marvel list. I'm going to cut it there because the next part I think is going to take up the majority of our time, and I am so looking forward to this. Yes. So this is the top 5. Paul picked it, and it's the top 5, your top 5 or my top 5 TV programs.
Yes.
So, which I never thought would be hard, but by God, it is so difficult.
It is, because there's that many variables that you've got to look into and you could take into account. Now, I did set myself rules. I didn't share these rules. I didn't want you to do the same.
You took this so seriously.
You had to, but then, like I said, these are, like I said, the only thing that, and that sounds really sad, but these mean so much to us.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And there's one of them. I might even cry when I go into it, just because of what it means to us. So no, I totally get where you're coming from.
So
right.
The first rule I set myself: no game shows or reality TV shows. I wanted it to be a full TV show, like it's
mine's not that either.
Yeah, and the other one I tried to do, because one of them does break this rule, and I wanted it to be a complete TV show. So if anything that's still going, because you don't know how it's going to end, I've read, right, I'm not going to include it in the list. But one of them has broken that rule because I love it so much.
Okay. Well, all of mine have ended completely, and one's a bit questionable, and you'll know what I mean when I say it. But one's a bit questionable. But yeah, the rest of them are totally and utterly done with. Finito.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'm gonna get you to go first because I am so excited to hear what your list is.
No problem.
So you go ahead.
I'll go with the one that broke the rule first.
Okay.
It's a quite a modern TV show, which, to be honest, most of mine are quite old now. The first one is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Never watched it.
Really? I thought it'd be right up your street, but
nope. And then my sister says it all the time. She says, I would find it hilarious, but I've never watched it.
It's smart, it's cleverer than you think it would be, because it goes through all these different topics that you don't expect for like a sitcom, or like say what a class is a sitcom, but it's like a formulaic TV show. There's characters in it that break the molds, like I say, there's gay, bi characters, like I say, the Latino, black community and stuff's all involved. It breaks down barriers, but also it doesn't take itself too seriously. And like I say, the main character, like I say, is Jake Peralta, which is Andy Samberg from The Lonely Island. So he's just out there wacky humour, and his best friend Charles, who is like a little lost puppy following around, and their relationship during the show is hilarious. But it's just like the relationship between the team, like each of them, like say, have the moments to shine. No one else like outshines each other. The cast has pretty much been solid throughout. There's only been really one change, which is Gina. She was like a receptionist. She, and I've forgotten her surname, but her first name was Chelsea. She's an American comedian. She's really stupid, silly, reminds us a little bit of Phoebe from Friends. But like I say, in a type of like not really paying attention to the world type thing. She's in her own little bubble. But as the show goes, like the characters grow, and you don't expect it from like a stupid cop show, but you fall in love with the team. Like say some of the characters hate each other at the start, fall in love during the show as well. And like say there's Cheddar the dog, which is really I know, because like say if you're an animal person, you'll love Cheddar the dog. He doesn't make that many appearances, but Think of like Eddie from Frasier.
Oh, it has.
But it's into its last season now. They've announced that they're not going to make any more after the next season's out.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be actually out already the last season, but they threw away the script due to what happened in America with the Black Lives protests, because they said what and like all the anti-cop stuff.
Yeah.
So they went, right, we can't, in good knowledge, just do the script we've done. We've got to incorporate what's going on now.
Oh, that gives us chills. That gives us chills.
So basically, they've delayed it, I think, by 6 months. Just to write the last season again, to base it on. So, but each season has a turning point. Like say they've been mafia. There's been hits on people. There's it's hilarious. And I've watched I've watched them now about 3 or 4 times. It's just like you put on the background, and there'll be things that you'll just pick up and laugh. And like I say, that there's certain episodes like they do a Halloween heist each year, and honestly, it's absolutely brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. I'll
put it on the list. I have a few programs like that, but it's just never something that crossed my mind. But another one that didn't quite make the list, but I'm not going to say it just in case it's on one of yours, is just an example of I should learn from my lessons and just branch out, because it's a program that's been going on since about 2010 or something, and it's still ongoing today, and it's probably one of the funniest programs I've ever watched. And I'm not saying what it is, because I am still toing and froing with my number 5 slot that I could potentially put it in there. So I would give it a go. I'll definitely give it a go. Do you want to know mine?
Yes, let's go.
Mine's kind of on the same theme. It's an American sitcom. It's finished with. It's done. It caused such an outrage that it got removed from Netflix at Christmas that people actually started cancelling their Netflix subscription.
Really?
In America. And it is the US Office.
Right, okay.
Paul, it is one of the only shows that I cry at the end, not only because it's finished, it's because I know I'm going to miss them and I need them back in my life. It's funny. I love the English Office. Not enough to put it on my top list, because it only brought out 2 series, but it was fantastic. This one I only watched it a few years ago. God, probably even 2 years ago. And the first episode is word for word the English one.
Yeah.
But some things have changed. When David Brent calls his boss Camilla Parker Bowles, Michael Scott called his boss Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
So there's some things that are translated over differently, but for the main part, it is word for word the same script. And by the second episode, you think that's what you're in for, and like it's just going to be the same as. It's just going to be done differently to fit in American television, and it's not. And as time goes on, you don't realize you're watching a fly on the wall documentary. It's just a TV show, and the characters in it are you find a connection with one of them, and you follow their story, like Pam and Jim, which is John Krasinski, and oh God, I can't think of her name. I even listened to our podcast as well. I can't think of her name, but Pam and Jim's story from start to finish is just absolutely fantastic. But the main standout will always be Michael Scott, who was played by Steve Carell. He is hilarious to the point of absolute annoyance. Michael is one of the worst human beings possible. There is an episode in it called Scott's Tots, and if any Office fan knows, they know how bad Scott's Tots episode is, to the point where I can't physically watch it anymore. Michael gets it in his head that he'll be a millionaire by the time he's in his 40s. So he guarantees these children, if you graduate high school, I'll pay for your college. And then he has to go and confront these kids to tell them that he hasn't actually become a millionaire. And it is the level of cringe in it is horrible. Michael is one of the worst human beings, but he always manages to have he always manages to have some little redeeming quality about him. And his exit of the show was just, I bawl my eyes out every time it's on. But The Office, the US one, is one of my, if not one of my favorite programs of all time. I get that upset that the end comes. I have to stick it on again and do it all over again. Yeah. I've watched it, and no word of a lie, about 100 times during lockdown. I love it. Love it. I do recommend it. You would be addicted. Very funny.
I've tried watching it a few times, but I think, as you said, with the first couple of episodes, it's quite like the UK Office, just different, and that's the part I found it hard to get past. So again, I might try again to get past.
Try again. Yeah. Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant were very heavily involved with the first series, to the point where they said, if you can get the foundation down, then you can go off and do it yourself.
Yeah.
And the guy who helps the Mindy Kaling, the guy who plays Toby, and Ryan. Oh my God, I can't think of these people's names, but they're all writers in the show, but they're all part of the cast as well.
Right, all right.
So the writers and the cast are basically one and the same. But the Moores who plays, and oh God, I say Michael's one of my favorite characters. You've got Dwight Schrute, you've got the great Rainn Wilson who plays Dwight Schrute, who is just, he's perfect. He's so funny and weird, and he's a nerd, and he's a beet farmer, and I just love him. But his cousin is played by, his cousin Moores is played by a guy who actually not only wrote parts of the show, but he also created Parks and Rec.
Right.
And wrote Parks and Rec. The guy is a genius. And he's so good at doing characters who that you can quite easily follow along with, and you can quite gradually fall in love with them, and he writes them just beautifully. And he done the same with The Office and Parks and Rec, but out of the two, The Office for me will always be superior.
That's the thing. That's why I'm, like I say, I love doing things like this, having this type of discussion. Now, even if it's not, like I say, a talking discussion, tying it down, because you find out so many different things that you might not have experienced. Like other people, like say that's the thing, like say, because our first two picks, both of us haven't seen it up before, so that's the thing that always, like say, engages us and, like say, wants to bring in that type of conversation.
I love. Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. It's just like say, just trying to spread, like say, things that people might not have experienced before.
Definitely. What I was going to say is that I love programs. I'm a very character-driven person, and I love people. So I like finding a person in a television show and just following their story. Like, American Horror Story Hotel. It's not everyone's favorite, but if you're like me, I followed one person's story throughout that, and it was Elizabeth Taylor. And just followed that story, and that it was just
heartbreaking. Her story,
beautiful, but it's beautiful at the same time. And it was I am a proper people person. I was actually talking to your wife last night through Facebook, because she's watching This Is England.
Yes, and I've been obsessed with that.
But I've been meaning to watch it, and I actually watched the trailer for it, and then I was watching like little clippets online, and I was like, I think this is I love anything British.
Yeah.
And I think it's totally up my street, because I think it's characters who you can proper get in with and follow them on a journey that may not. I've got a funny feeling that I might not be able to relate to a lot to it, but still find it endearing enough to stick with it. So that is on my list to watch.
Cool.
You gonna go for number 2?
Yes. So again, I'll go with like I say. Yeah, I'll go with this one next. It's another American one. Again, it's not the best show, I'm not gonna lie, but I invested 15 years of my life watching this show. Supernatural.
Yeah,
it's had 15 seasons. Some of them were god awful and absolutely painful to watch, but the characters in it, like I say, me and my wife Nick absolutely adored the characters. Like I say, the show made a lot of mistakes if you watch it. They started off absolutely brilliantly with the whole urban legend. Like I say, if you're a horror fan, it's brilliant because it basically does every single horror film you can think of. But sometimes it is cheesy, but they know when they are being cheesy. And the characters Sam and Dean, they're lovable. Like I say, I think when it got released in the UK the first time round, they've done the marketing all wrong for it, because the whole billboards and shit was coming out saying scary is now sexy, and the show's
Oh right, oh that's bad.
but the show's not about that at all. And like I said, the show's about the relationship between Sam and Dean, like the two brothers, and how like different they are, how similar they are. There's some characters that come in, some characters that you miss, some characters you think, oh, this plays full off. But like characters like Charlie, who's this nerdy redhead who honestly I absolutely adored and fell in love with about 1 million times over. She was like your little sister you wanted to look after. Castiel, who was this weird angel dude, but that was like say when the show started going off the rails a bit, when they start doing too many episodes about good and evil, being God and the devil and stuff, kind of lost track a bit.
It's not on my list for one reason, because I've not finished it.
Right.
Me and Ant watched it, I want to say about from around 2013 we started it. I think Ant had watched it before me, but then we started it from the beginning. And up until season 10, there was not a season that I did not absolutely love. You're right. Like Charlie, I found Felicia Day through that series, and I absolutely adore Charlie. And there is some really
what was
cool
that
characters.
show she did as well? What was it? The Guild. The Guild.
Yeah, I remember years ago you mocking me online because I just found it.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was like, oh, I've just watched the whole series, and you go, well, it's not that hard to do. It's like only about 20 minutes long or something.
I remember watching it years ago, but like say it was like say the way I liked it, because that's how I was as a teenager. Like you kids, like say people really liked this because of the stuff I liked. So
actually, I've got 2 seconds. Oh,
got the Felicity Day book.
Hold the phone. I've dropped my headphone. So I actually have her book, You're Never Weird on the Internet, almost, by Felicia Day.
Yep.
If you want to relive your childhood, pick up her book, because it is absolutely fantastic. She is no different than any boy who grew up in the 80s and 90s. Only difference is she was homeschooled, so she got away with a lot more. But it is such a good read. But I never finished Supernatural. It wasn't the whole good versus evil that got us. It was one series Sam's going to die, one series Dean's going to die.
Yeah.
Who's going to die this series? Don't know, because it was going backwards and forwards, but they'll always come back, and it was just getting so repetitive. I will eventually finish it, because I do. Like I invested so much time with these two, and like when the last episode of a series come on, I would start crying when Kansas was played, because that song is all about Dean.
Yeah.
It was always all about Dean, and I just thought out of the two of them, he was the most special because he was the most invested. He was the one who started it all. If it wasn't for Dean, you wouldn't have Sam involved in it. And it was all about, like, to start with, it was all about going to find their dad. And if you're a fan of the X-Files, you're a fan of this because they always did a Monster of the Week, which is what the X-Files used to do.
But what I love about it as well, because like I say, me and Nick's actually watching it again, because like I say, there's certain things we love. We love the Trickster episodes as well, when the whole Loki or Gabriel, as he later become, starts messing with them. We've just got through the bit where they put them through all the different TV shows where you get Dean and Sam's getting hit in the crotch by the Japanese game show and stuff like that. It's the silly ones, or when Dean gets infected by the scary virus and becomes terrified of everything.
You're just screaming like a girl, yes.
And that's the one at the end where he's caught in the car singing "Eye of the Tiger," which is one of the best outtakes.
It's so good.
But I'm not spoiling it because I know you haven't watched it.
I haven't watched the ending. Season 10 is where we kind of lost off.
Because a lot of people didn't like the ending. Like, so I personally did. I thought the ending made sense. The only thing that spoiled it a little bit was because of the whole pandemic. They couldn't do it right. No, they did it okay, but they just couldn't get the people in that needed to be in, if that made sense.
Yeah, it does.
But but like I said, the whole what you said there, it's hard to get bothered when people die in the show. Then you know
Because
the next season they're going to come back.
come back.
So many
It just
people did.
there was no weight behind. Yeah, there was no weight behind it. The only one that did have a massive impact on us, and I think we had to turn it off for a few days because we were so bummed out by it, was the death of Bobby.
Yeah.
Like, that was so sad. And Bobby's did hold weight behind it, because guess what? Didn't come back the next episode. And yes, we did see Bobby a few times, but it was never in a way that Bobby was actually going to come back into physical form, not like what they did. So his did hold a lot of weight.
Yes, but I say because like I say, there's certain characters that came into it as bit parts that grew, like Crowley, and then
look, Mark Sheppard, such a good actor, and he's in the X-Files. He's in a really good episode of the X-Files.
His mum comes in. I don't know if you're the season when his mum comes in.
Well, the redhead.
Yes.
Can't think of what her name is. Ruth. No, Ruth. Is that the actress, or is that her?
It might be the actress, but her, like I say, we loved her in it as well. But again, it's one of the things about the show. I think it lost off. It started becoming like who's good, who's bad, and flipping the sides. But
yeah,
I think I read originally that it was meant to actually finish after season 6. That's where the writers had the whole from season 1 to season 6 mapped out originally for the show, and that's when it was going to be the logical ending, when Chuck winks at the camera to say, when he says, like hints that he's God. That was when the show was meant to physically end. But when the fan base grew, the network went, we need more, and then carried on for fucking 15 seasons.
It was absolutely huge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Again, it's not on my list because I didn't finish it, and it's a hard one just to jump back into when you've seen it before. It's not, and that sounds ridiculous coming from me, because I can watch things 100 times over, and every single one on my list is something that I can revisit. But that one is just a tough one to watch, and it's a tough one to get back into, especially when you invested so much time to start with, and just to be constantly given the same thing over and over again, it gets a bit draining. But I do want to finish it. I'm sick of like having lists on like Prime or on Netflix where I just haven't finished the series.
Yeah.
So I will get back around to finishing it. Cool. Are you ready for my second one?
Well, little lady.
Number 2. It's a bit of a odd. It's not an odd one. I only watched it a few years ago thanks to football, because I didn't want to watch football. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to stick this on, and it's Downton Abbey.
Right. Okay.
It is. I absolutely adore it. I never thought I would. I'm not really into periodic pieces.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely fantastic. Again, it is character driven. It is you can attach yourself to these people and just follow them. It's another show that once I'm finished, I'll go back to the first episode and watch it all over again quite happily.
You've got the second film coming out this Christmas as well, haven't you?
Cannot wait. I'm very apprehensive over it, because when I went to go and see the film, I think like the first hour I was like, Carolyn, we could have watched this on the telly. Like, there's nothing special behind it. And then by the time it was finished, I was like, no, that was really special. I'm glad I got to see it on the big screen. And the next one, I'm apprehensive as to how it's going to go forward because of how the last one ended, how the film ended.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing to spoil, but spoilers if you've not seen the film.
They're watching the wrong podcast because they don't like spoilers.
I know, it's true. But the Dowager, who was played by the fabulous Maggie Smith, announces that she's dying, and I think the next film is going to be either she has confirmed to be in it.
Yeah.
So whether it is leading up to her death or it's the aftermath of it, and because she's a huge part of this family, and it's going to be a huge loss when she's gone, because she is so influential on everyone, and she has such a heart of gold. And a family who, like, because it's based in the 1920s. Well, we're in the 1920s now, but it started the day the Titanic sank. the day the news hit the UK that the Titanic sank, because that's how it all progresses. The heir to Lord Grantham's estate was on the Titanic, and now they have to find his next heir, which is like a third cousin, and it's Matthew Crawley, who's just a solicitor. He's just a normal person who's been brought into this grand family, and it's just then you got your upstairs, you got your downstairs, and I just love it. And all the clothes and the drama, it's just fantastic. Downton Abbey.
It's not something I've watched. It's been on my radar. Like I say, I'll do like a period piece. Like I say, give us a Hercules Poirot any day. But the closest I've got, I think, was the Bob's Burgers episode when they took the piss out of it.
Totally forgot about that one. But it's lovely. There's like, you've got your romantic story of the upstairs, but you've also got a romantic story downstairs.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just love it. And it's just hard to put into words on Downton Abbey how much I love it, because it isn't something that I didn't watch it when it was on telly.
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago, football thing was on, and I didn't want to watch it. And I thought, perfect timing, I'll stick Downton Abbey on. And and there's bits in it, like I don't get scared at horror films, and I very rarely shriek out loud. There is one scene in Downton that made me scream out loud like a little girl, because it was horrifying.
Right.
But it just came out of nowhere. I'm not going to spoil it. It just came out of nowhere, and it looked like something out of a horror film, and it actually made me scream out loud.
Very cool.
Because you just do not see it coming. It was great. Yeah. But yes, Downton is a one that is very close to my heart, and I'm actually watching at the minute.
No problem. So I'm happy to move on to my next one.
Yes. What's number 3?
So again, it wasn't a long show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a British one. So the British ones are not normally that long.
Was it 2 series by any chance?
No, it wasn't 2 series. I think it was 3. 3 seasons, I'm sure of it. If I'm wrong, Blaster's on it. But it was either this, I was toying with this, or the one that followed it. Because like I say, I'm a big fan of Inside Number 9, but The League of Gentlemen. Absolutely adored the show. Like I say, every element. Like I say, the writing, the acting, like I say, the Mark Gatiss, like I say, it was involved, like just like the whole characters. Like it felt like a very British TV show, but like British horror at the same time, very old style horror as well. Like Tubbs and Are You Local was after him. Like I say, I'm trying to think of his name now. The German character in it as well.
It's so quotable as well, isn't it? So you can really
everyone's got a quote that can. I think there's Pauline and her pens, and I remember as well, because me and Nick went to see this the Christmas stage show at the Empire, seeing it done live, and it's just as well done. Like the Butcher, was it Hilary the Butcher as well? That honestly, that was terrifying. Like I used to be scared of it, and the whole taxi driver, like transvestite taxi driver as well, Barbara. Just lots of different elements that make you laugh, but it's. Because like one of the things I've picked like the shows for is like the rewatchability, and you can watch The League of Gentlemen again and again and pick up different things. And I know it's like I say, it's always got its bit of controversy as well. Like I say, I know they've recently edited it out on Netflix where they got rid of the blackface of Papa Lazarou, which again,
you're my wife now, Dave.
You want to buy some pegs?
Absolutely horrifying, that character, but they took him out. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but he was a scary character to start with.
True.
Absolutely terrifying. It's not something I have watched it, but it's not something that I would class as one of my favorites at all.
I didn't enjoy any stretch. I think when they done the film, it was a bit of a cash-in type situation. Mm-hmm. But like I say, the 3, I'm trying to think, it's Steve Pendleton, Mark Gatiss,
and Reese. Can't think of Reese's surname. But Reese. He is, oh my god, he was in an episode of what was that Peter Kay thing, Car Share?
Mm-hmm.
and he's a fishmonger in the supermarket they work at, and he gets a lift off them, and he is absolutely hilarious. He is so funny, and the outtakes on that bit where they're in the car when he's singing in the car is just some of the funny, like it's pain crippling. Reese is hilarious.
Yeah, Shea Smith. I've just
Shea Smith.
Yeah.
Steve, what's his face?
Steve Pembleton and Mark
Pembleton.
Gatiss. But like I say, Mark Gatiss does a lot of writing now for different shows, and his writing's always on point, and it's always.
He's a brilliant writer, and he also is a huge horror fan. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite documentaries is a Mark Gatiss one about the history of horror, and it's done in 3 parts. It is available on YouTube if you would like to watch it, and it is going through the 1920s horror to the 60s and 70s horror to modern day horror, and it is absolutely fantastic. He is such a fan that just the genre in general, so there's no piss taken on it whatsoever.
Because wasn't he involved in the new Dracula that came out as well?
I think so. I think he was a writer. It was
well.
Him and the guy who did Doctor Who. He did Doctor Who with.
Right.
It was them two, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I kind of lost off on the last episode. I kind of got a bit drained, but yeah, Mark and watched it and said it was great. But Mark Gatiss and what's his name? He did Doctor Who.
Oh no.
Stephen Moffat.
Stephen Moffat, that's the one. Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm. Totally went off topic with you.
No. When you get there's so much meat in it, but yeah, like I said, because there was a quite old, like traditional, I think that's the word, traditional British horror elements to it, where it was like a country, like I say, where like a little country village where not many people would go, like if you're not, like people would probably go, or the local and stuff like that.
People call where I'm from Royston Vasey, because when you come into where I live, there's a sign that just says local traffic only.
But even like I say, the mates in the pubs where they get, I've forgotten his name now, but when he gets like tells a story and he ends up killing himself or killing like his friends and stuff like that, it's quite relatable at times. And the whole nice vet as well, who's lovely, but he kills all the animals. It's just like, it was like quite a twist on like all creatures great and small as well. Which is a callback. Yeah.
They did another one as well, Psychoville.
Yes.
Did you ever watch that? I really enjoyed Psychoville.
Yeah, I think Nick was a bigger fan of Psycho, but like I say, I love Inside Number 9. I think them episodes.
My family, absolutely. Yeah, my parents and I think your parents watched it, but I'm sure my sister watched it. They enjoyed it, but and my mum really loves Psychoville as well. It's so twisted. Mm-hmm. Like they took it to a whole new level with that. Yeah. So twisted, but so well written. I think that's the best part about them is just how good it's written.
Cool. But yeah, that's my number 3, A League of Gentlemen. Like, it's again, I can go back to that at any time, and there'll probably be an element that I've not even noticed, like a little thing that you like in the background, and it's like I say, that's what I love about it as well. So I always get something from it.
Brilliant. So mine, I'm gonna not do my next one that I planned because mine kind of falls in with the British programming. It's comes with a very funny story on my birth. It's Only Fools and Horses.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Very good. Something that is incredibly close to me and my family because it's always been like so you when you come home from work, you stick the telly on, have your tea, what you're going to put on. It's usually an episode of Friends, isn't it? Well, at my house it used to be an episode of Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
And the story is that when my mum went into labour with me, my dad told her he couldn't take her to the hospital yet because the episode of Only Fools and Horses that was on hadn't finished and he needed to watch it before they could go, and my mum had to wait. So there's always like a funny birth story with the Only Fools and Horses, but it's so funny. There's a lot you couldn't get away with now.
Yes.
Some of the words in there are very questionable, but again, it's a product, it's a program of its time.
Yeah.
That did change as time went on.
Mm-hmm.
It progressed with its times. It didn't just stay in the past and said incredibly
but there's a lot of TV shows and films that like say as you watch now, you realise and think, oh, that is a little bit uncomfortable. Like even something as modern as Friends.
Friends?
Yes, Friends is like it's got quite a lot of homophobic essence in there.
Massively.
Yeah, which
But it's again, it's a product of its time, and
it's not right, it's not wrong.
It's not right. No, it's a hard one for us to talk, like to see it. But yeah, Only Fools and Horses is just it just holds so many special places. Like, and it's something like if I want to have a nap and I'd want something on in the background, I'd shove an episode on.
Yeah.
And I always start.
It reminds me of Christmas, Only Fools and Horses, because like say as you said, you always used to have your family round.
Yeah.
Put something because you wanted to see your family and talk to your family, so you put something on the background. It used to be an Only Fools and Horses episode, and by the end of the episode, you're not talking to each other, you're all watching.
All sitting watching it. Yeah. The characters are hilarious in it. There's there's a decent quality about them all. Trigger's just so funny. Yeah. But Del Boy obviously is like he's just oh God, that's my dad. My dad's just banged on the window.
Your dad's getting a cameo.
Sorry, give us 2 seconds. I'm just going to run out the room.
It's fine.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
No, that's fine. I'll just talk about Only Fools and Horses. Like, say, for anyone that's listening, like, say, I've got a soft spot for some of my favourite episodes. Is basically when they dress up as Batman and Robin and go to the run through the streets. That's always a big spot for me. Like I say, I always laugh to that.
My dad bringing me tea bags.
Don't worry, that's fine. I was just talking away to myself about the episode of when Del Boy and Rodney got dressed up as Batman and Robin and went running through the street. Then you see the burglar, the robber, seeing them and just running away in shock, thinking Batman and Robin's after them. But so many different classic bits of TV, British TV, in that show.
It's where he goes, Del, let's go. It's absolutely
David Jason, who plays Del Boy, like I think my utmost. There's two scenes that's brilliant. The one where he's getting a cocktail at the bar and they move the side of the bar up and he goes
and he falls
everyone
down.
Knows what's going to happen and the straight faces. I don't know how they didn't break down.
It's Trigger, the actor who played Trigger. If he didn't do it right, it would just crumble because he looks around for him. He kind of is when he falls, he looks around and like, oh, and then he's like, oh, there you are. And if he didn't do it right, then the whole scene is just completely ruined. But there is one episode of Only Fools and Horses that I cannot watch because of the cringe factor in it, and it's called A Royal Flush, and it's where Rodney gets involved with a lady almost, and goes to her estate with her father and the shooting, and very Downton Abbey actually. But Del manages to go.
Right.
And the night at the house is awful. It's even worse when they go to the ballet or the opera or something like that, and he's got his girlfriend Trudy there. It's terrible. It's so cringing that I just cannot. It was like, I think it was like a Christmas special. They did do some great Christmas specials, but they did do just specials in general. So like Jolly Boy's Outing is one of my favorite episodes. The Hull and Back, where they do the diamond. But the best thing
that was like kind of like the heist,
yeah. But the best thing about it is they brought a lot of things like connected, and like especially with the storyline with Raquel when he meets his girlfriend Raquel, who is married to a police officer. That police officer is someone that you met in like the third series when Slater the Slag comes in. And he is Raquel's ex-husband, who they then see in the class of 62, which is in the early 90s when Raquel's pregnant.
One thing about the show as well that always stood out for me, I know like I say, I've talked about like OCD and stuff like that, the continuity of the characters, there was very rare that anyone was either recast or changed, like say throughout, and there's I don't know how many actual seasons there is, but there's quite a lot, even for a British show, because normally the British ones are quite short, but there's quite a lot of seasons with it.
There's more specials probably than there is seasons, if I'm thinking of it, because then you've got all the Christmas specials, not just the ones of recent time, but obviously the ones from back in the day. But then you've got Jolly Boys Out and Hullenbach, Frog's Legacy, where he goes looking for his gold bullion, which was the basis of Rock and Chips.
Yeah.
Another one that John Sullivan wrote, which didn't get finished because unfortunately John died before finishing Rock and Chips, which is really sad. But there's not a continuity is great, because it's you can't. There's things that I've never been able to pull apart, and also they don't ever recast. So sadly, the guy who played Mike passed away, who owned was the landlord of the Nag's Head.
Yeah.
When he passed away, he went to prison. Right. His character went to prison, and it was Sid who came and took over when Uncle Albert sadly passed away. They actually, and Grandad as well. Yeah. They don't recast their characters when they go. Mm-hmm. They do a nice way of letting them go,
like moving them on type thing. Yeah, that was always a standout. But like I say, the only other part, like say, that does everything. If you mentioned Only Fools and Horses, it all instantly jumps in my mind is the chandelier scene.
Hate it. I don't like that. I do not like.
Really?
It's another one. It's another one. I don't. It's hilarious and it's iconic, but I just don't like that episode. It's the first few series of the episodes are quite touching, like hit and miss. Mm-hmm. But that one for me just doesn't hit my funny bone. Doesn't hit my funny bone like it probably should.
It says more about me than it does you, to be honest. I like to see people getting fucked up.
There's one of my favorite ones is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and it's where Del's friend comes over from Australia, and they used to own it. His character name gets mentioned quite a few times. But I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But he comes back from Australia and he offers Del the world. Like, come to Australia, I'll get you a job. By this time next year, you generally will be a millionaire. And he's going to go and he's going to take Rodney, gets into a bit of a argument with Grandad because he can't go. And then they find out that Rodney can't go because he has a criminal record. Mm-hmm. And they get into a massive fight and Del can't leave him.
Yeah.
And he turns down this opportunity of a lifetime to stay with Rodney and Grandad. But there's one scene in it that actually breaks my insides. The Grandad and Rodney are sitting in the flat. Del walks in, absolutely pissed out of his brain, just going, da-na-na-na-na-na, and then all of a sudden, Rodney just shuts the door on his face. And it's comedy timing like that that made this show so funny and so special, and I just love it. So that was my number 3, Only Fools and Horses.
I love the characters, like the people like Nicholas Lyndhurst and David Jason who played the characters as well, because they've done other things, probably not to the success, but like I say, I love Nicholas Lyndhurst in Goodnight Sweetheart.
I knew you were going to say that.
That was like say a weird show, but quite sweet at the same time.
My friend Amy, who I don't know if she'll listen to this actually, but she absolutely loves it. It's something that it's one that she can just stick it on in the background and just watch it repeatedly. She loves it. I never got into it like that.
No, it reminds us of sitting with like say my mum and dad and stuff like that. And again with David Jason, it was probably before Only Fools and Horses, but Open All Hours with
that was good.
With one thing
he's also in a couple episodes of Porridge as well.
Yes.
Playing it's the hospital one, isn't it? He was a hospital patient in Porridge. Mm. So Porridge was something my dad used to watch, and I can't even think of who it is because it's the same guy who was in Open All Hours.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. What is the matter with us?
It's been a long day, don't worry.
I know.
But no, like I said, there was a lot of good things about that came from it. Like I said, a lot of careers that were probably made from Only Fools and Horses as well. Like some of the actors that went on to do it. But like I said, the guy I'm thinking of, it was Ronnie Barker. I don't know how I forgot Ronnie Barker.
Oh my God, the two Ronnies! Like, how could we forget that? I read an article the other day, and it was proper clickbait, and it was Only Fools and Horses actor marries the actor's son of Only Fools and Horses, and I was like, what the shit? Raquel married the kid who played Damien. No, Raquel married the adult who played Damien in the flashback scene where he's talking to President Reeves. And I'm like, but he was it made her sound like a proper perv, and it wasn't. It was, she married the adult version of Damien, not the child version. And I was like, what the hell? So yes, that's my number 3. What's your number 4?
Number 4, again, it doesn't quite break one of my rules because we don't know if it is ended. Because probably will do a special. I don't think we'll get another season of it. But Sherlock.
Oh my God, that's not where I thought you were going with it at all.
Come back and go. But I absolutely adore this show. There's not one episode that's bad.
Again, it's Mark Gatiss.
Yeah, Mark Gatiss writing it, but it's
and Stephen Moffat.
Brilliantly acted. Like I say, the cast is absolutely perfect, and I was always a big Sherlock fan. I love the old films, I love the books, and doing it in such, like I say, a modern way as well. Brilliant. Like I say, surprising you as well. That was always the thing, because you think, oh, I know these stories, I know what's going to be the outcome, and everything that does happen, but done it in twists and stuff. And like say, Martin Freeman, who plays Watson, absolutely, like say, I love it. But Benedict Cumberbatch is the perfect Sherlock Holmes, and the guy who plays Professor Moriarty is my all-time favorite bad guy in a TV show, because he's absolutely sinister, creepy, and I think it was called Andrew Scott.
He's a fantastic actor. Like, not just as Moriarty, he was very sinister and creepy as Moriarty, but anything that he touches, it's just perfection. He's in a film I love called Pride, and he's such a good actor. Sherlock is brilliant, and I think because it's not one of my favorites, but I do thoroughly enjoy the episodes. I did not know that they could be doing another one.
I don't know if that's the thing, because they never announced them. But like I say, they've always said they would do others if they get the cast in the right place. But the cast now,
that's true. They're all over the place, aren't they?
Big money to get them to do. That's why I think if they're going to do a spin-off, it'll be like a Christmas special or like a one-off special.
Do you know what though with Sherlock? It is something that you can pick up and come back to, because each story was they were all like individual stories.
Yeah. Like some of them did intertwine. There was a lot of the Moriarty ones that had like elements to them, but again, it wouldn't spoil anything if you just picked up anything. Like one of my favorite episodes, I know it's going to sound a bit pervy, was the Arlene Atler story, because
wasn't that the first one?
It wasn't the first episode. It was I can't remember the season, but I remember because you got to know the characters a bit more, and you thought Sherlock was this heartless guy, and he kind of fell for a little bit. But to do her character as a dominatrix as well was absolutely brilliant. Like, it works so well, because she was always a manipulator, and she was like the female version of Sherlock in the books. But to have her as a dominatrix, it was like having men nail it, like that power aspect that was always done really well. And even like say characters like in it, the female doctor, Molly, who worshipped the ground that Sherlock walked on, and having the little heartbreaking episodes where he would like make fun of her jokingly, and you could tell it was breaking her heart every time. But even like I say, the inspector, I've forgotten his name now. The inspector in it was done really well, because he wasn't a bumbling idiot. No. Where he's been shown in other films or stuff, he was like using the resources. But again, having Mark Gatiss in it as Sherlock's brother,
Mycroft
Holmes as well, that was genius, because like I
Genius.
say, there was a perfect foil, but it's
I
just
think
like
it's something I'm gonna have to watch again.
yeah, because like I said, the whole like build up to the Reichside Falls in the books was like I say I loved, and like I say it's one of my favorite stories, and the way they did it in the actual show was breathtaking, and how they followed it up as well. That was always basically for me, because when they done the cliffhanger, you had to wait nearly a year to get the answers, and they did it well. I don't think, like I say, sometimes like it's anticlimactic, and to be fair, it could have been seen that way, but it was very Sherlock the way he got the answers. But yeah, Sherlock, like I say, one of my top shows. Like I say, I can, as you said, just pick up an episode and watch it.
Yeah.
But it's not an episode. It's not the type of show where I can watch in the background. If I watch it,
No, you've got to watch it. Yeah, it's something that probably wouldn't. It didn't even cross me radar when I was thinking of series, even though I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I do love Benedict Cumberbatch as enough to where I watched the Robert Downey Jr. version of it for 10 minutes and turned it off. I have never turned a film off for any reason. I sat through Geostorm, for Christ's sake. That robbed me of an hour and a half of my life. But 10 minutes into listening to Robert Downey Jr. trying to be Sherlock, I thought, no, can't do this.
Laughing at that. So I think someone posted in the Facebook group.
I saw that.
Having Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch, and no one made a no shit Sherlock joke. That would have been good. I would have cried during that.
That would have been good. It's I did that. Do you know? It's something that it's like the other week. God, it was last year. The Hunger Games. Completely forgot they existed. And I sat and watched all the Hunger Game films, and I've just done the same there. I completely and utterly forgot until you said it that Sherlock existed. Yeah. I might have to sit and watch them again.
This is, again, not to harp on it. This is what I love about these type of things. It's not just introducing
the memory fresh.
Remember things and think, shit, yeah, that was good. Like I say, there's been a lot of posts in the Facebook group about old TV shows recently, and like, bringing back, like say, my wife's posted a few last night. So, like, people would have gone ape shit over, like 10th Kingdom. Fuck, 10th Kingdom. I've not seen 10th Kingdom in how many years?
I didn't watch it when it came out, but I do know what it is. I was not a telly person growing up. I was very much out the house. I think the first series I ever watched where I actually, like, because my sister was into Buffy and Goosebumps and stuff like that. Like, she had telly programs that she would like have to visit on a weekly basis. I didn't. I wasn't bothered. I was always out the house. But the first one that I really got to was Prison Break.
Right. Okay.
I used to watch ER occasionally, but it was something that I could come back to, and I wasn't fully invested. But Prison Break series 1, series 2 was shocking, and I just turned it off.
Well, to be fair, after the premise of them getting out of the prison,
everything else
would have ended really.
Exactly. But Prison Break was probably the first series that I proper invested time in, and like had to keep going back like each week to watch it. It was some of the best telly I'd ever, up to that point, ever seen. Yeah. But now I can't not watch a TV series. Like, I have to have something ongoing. Like, me and my husband at the moment are watching Doom Patrol season 2 and Titan season 2.
Yeah.
But we'll watch an episode of 1 or 2 episodes of one and then move on to the next one. And we've also got on the go the Clone Wars, something that we are struggling with massively, because Star Wars politics can really get in the way of a good storyline. Yeah. What else have we got on the go? We've got so many. The Last Airbender, I've got that on the go. Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm absolutely loving it. But we have so many TV shows on the go. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Riddick. So are you ready for my next one?
Yep.
Right, so my next one. This one is one of my favorite shows, but for not the reasons that people are going to think. Probably is my top 10 favorite show. It made me potentially, no, I don't want to say it made me who I am today, that's ridiculous, but it introduced me back into the fantasy genre.
Right.
because I used to, back in my early 20s, was a huge Lord of the Rings fan, like totally over the top Lord of the Rings fan. And just as time went on, it just slipped out my head. Bringing this back into my life got me back into the Tolkien universe, and it is Game of Thrones.
Right.
Now, I am not defending the last few series. I can't.
No.
I am basing this on what the first few seasons brought to my life, and how it's progressed me into the book. I've got the book series up there, which is hard, really hard to read. But that's what I base my love on, was the first few series and what it brought to us. It gives us, like, I've got and if you know this, I have a Game of Thrones group on Facebook, which is over 9,000 million subscribers. I don't know the actual figure. It's like 9,000 subs on there, and that was my Sunday evening, was an episode of Game of Thrones, and then get on the group chats and talk to all the fans about it and take the piss out of all the Stannis fans. And it was that I absolutely loved that part of Game of Thrones, was the conversations I had with people afterwards, and the friends like I've made out of it. I have like friends all over the world because of Game of Thrones. I got like Sandeep in India, and Caroline and Kerry in America, and we all came together and made a Game of Thrones group, and that was my Sunday tea time, was just talking to them about the episodes. And the last series was terrible, I'm not gonna lie, it was absolutely horrific. But we have the books. That's the one thing we have to take away from this. We have the books. It's not all concluded with what them horrible people D&D did to that show. Horrible people.
Like I say, I've got a lot of love for the Game of Thrones, but that's probably why it wouldn't ever get in like my top 5, or it possibly wouldn't even sneak into be top 10 at the moment, due to, because I know how it ends, and it's one of the biggest disappointments I've experienced, like in a TV show. Like, there's been others, but that is probably up there with one of the biggest disappointments. Even though I love the early stuff, I can't go back through and watch it again because I
know how it ends.
Yeah.
So if this is what annoys me. So if Bran becomes, and this is spoilers again if you've not watched Game of Thrones, where have you been? But Bran getting everything at the end, becoming, Bran the Broken. It's not the issue with Bran getting the throne in the end and becoming king of the Andals, and this blah blah blah. That's not the issue. The issue is the fact that they didn't fucking explore Bran enough to make him interested to sit on the throne. Yeah. So he is a three-eyed raven seal. They totally built up this story of the Night King and who he was, and that was all we talked about, is who is the Night King. And guess what? We never fucking found out because they were too fucking lazy to actually put it in the story. They totally ruined Bran by taking him out of a full series, because guess what? They didn't know how to fucking write for him because the source material wasn't there anymore. They are the worst writers ever. If you go and have a look on their films, that one of them isn't even a writer. He's just there for the fucking job, for the ride. But the other one, if you go and have a look at these films, these credit films, every review is shit writing because he is terrible. If he didn't have the books behind him, that's why the first few series is phenomenal, is because he had the source material to back him with.
Didn't they come out and say that during the last season as well, he got the cast to write their own, well, not write their own, but have inputs on their own dialogue because he thought they knew their characters better than...
No, it's because he can't fucking write for people. That's the issue. So they got a Star Wars deal handed to them on the back of Game of Thrones. Right? I put them away.
That disappears quite quickly.
Swiftly got took away. They got a 3-movie deal for Star Wars. They were told by HBO, George is willing to help you. We will give you the money. We will give you the series. We will give you the time to do the show. They said, can't do it. We've got Star Wars. And they went, fair enough. Give it to someone else. let some other people come and show run it. It's absolutely fine. You don't need to be a part of it. It's not yours. They said, no, we're not doing that. And they fucking quickly ended Game of Thrones on how they did it, all to get that Star Wars deal that was eventually then taken away from them, then to be given a Netflix deal, which, where's it at? I hate these people for what they did. They took a series that had so much fucking potential and threw it down the drain because they can't write. I'm really sorry for all the F-bombs, but they are not good writers. And when their source material was taken away from them, they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they were so
it was
bad at it.
As I said, well, I think the last 2 seasons, this last season for me was painful. This one before, because that was the anticipation. You think, oh, it's going to go somewhere. You probably could have got, I know I'm probably exaggerating, about 3 or 4 extra seasons just on the back to lead up to where it got to, where it would make more sense and you would care more. Because the whole switch from Daenerys being, oh, I love everyone, to fuck everyone, was just in 2 episodes, and it was like, wait there. Just went from the freer of slaves to burning.
To the burning of buildings.
Yeah.
There's another thing as well. So the best thing about Game of Thrones was always the fan theories. And the what ifs and the what maybes, and the top one was always Jon Snow, because we always had an inkling Jon Snow was not who he was, and it was always R plus, what was it? What's his parents called? R plus L equals J. That was what was out throughout the whole thing. And I remember watching an episode of Comic Book Girl 19 on YouTube years ago, and she threw the theory out there that he was Targaryen. And we were like, holy shit, that meant something.
Yeah.
It had to mean something because it was so hidden throughout the whole of the books and the series, and then we find out for it to mean absolutely fuck all, because Jon ends up back on the wall.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. It's like when they had him in jail and they were like negotiating stuff, and they're like, no, we want him because he killed our queen. It's like, well, we'll send him back over in the wall.
Send him the wall. Send him the wall. He likes being there. We'll just send him back over there.
Sansa being Queen of the North, that made sense.
That made total sense. Total sense. Got that.
Yeah.
Very much got that. But not knowing who the Night King is, making such a big fuck. Do you know what it is? It's because they don't fucking know. That's the problem.
And again, not seeing Cersei die.
What was the shit with that? Do not get me started.
All the stuff she did, she needed to have an ending.
She deserved more than what she got, and we deserved more than what she got. She got to die in the arms of the person she loved the most, yet fair enough, she got crushed, but she deserved better. We deserved better as viewers. The amount of shit that she did. Yeah. She murdered a whole friggin' church. She went absolutely batshit crazy. Yeah. And that's what they give her as a death scene. I'm sorry, it was not justified at all. I was so angry at how Cersei died. I was even more angry that Jaime died, because Jaime's one of my favourite characters.
I'm loving that we're talking about your top 5 favourite things,
and I'm getting so angry. Angry because
that's what it does to you. That's why we do this, because we fucking care.
I really do care, and I'm so glad that I've got the books to be able to continue the story the way that it's meant to. And I know there's a lot that was taken out of the books and not put in the series, and I get that. It makes sense, like to have Lady Stoneheart come into it. That doesn't make sense to have it in the show, because you either do it because it's meant to happen straight away after the Red Wedding. If you don't do it then, it doesn't, and it doesn't make sense with the way that the story is in the books to how it in the program, because up to the book points now, Jaime and Brianna are trapped by Lady Stoneheart. We don't know where their story leads on to.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense if you're progressing the show on past the books, but you've got to be able to think you're never going to have the brain of George R.R. Martin.
No.
It doesn't work that way. There's only a handful of people who can do what he did and what the likes of Tolkien can do.
Yeah.
But you've got to be smart enough and a good writer to actually break these people down and know what you know there and take it on this way. And it pisses me off so badly that they were just so fucking lazy they couldn't even do that.
But talking, sorry to go back there,
No,
you mentioned a good point though, that, well, not a point, like a reference, the Red Wedding, TV wise, that is probably one of the best things I've seen TV wise, or the most shocking things. I know even if you read the books, you were waiting.
Do you know why?
For it,
do you know why it was good? Because it was already pre-written out for them. All they had to do was put it on the thingy. But I get what you mean. I do get what you're saying. So we watched Game of Thrones came to us in 2012 when we first moved into our last place. We had no internet, no telly package, and someone at work lent us the first series of Game of Thrones and just said, watch it. It's brilliant. Sean Bean's in it. It's fantastic. I was like, oh, okay, give it a try. Loved the first series, absolutely loved it, but didn't have a connection with it. I enjoyed it. Went on to the second series and I wasn't feeling it at all. But Ant was, and he continued on. And I will never forget the night of the Red Wedding. I was in the bedroom. We lived in a 1-bedroom flat, so the bedroom's here, living room's here. And he walks in the bedroom and he went, I need a minute. I can't believe what I've just watched. And he was like, I need to sit in a dark room for a bit. And I was like, wow, that's pretty impactful. Maybe I should go back. So I went back to the first series, caught right the way up, ready for when season 4 started, and just completely and utterly fell in love with it. But it wasn't just the show that I fell in love with. It was everything else. It was the community that I got into. It was the books and the fan theories. And now that I'm sad, I'm just sad for viewers that we didn't get the answers we were looking for. But I'm happy that we've still, hopefully, if George finishes the books, have the book. This book's been, The Winds of Winter has been on the edge for a few years now. But yeah, I do love it as much as I've gotten myself very angry about it. It's just because they threw away a great series. And did you see the last Comic-Con they did? They didn't even show up. The two writers, D&D, didn't even show up to the Comic-Con panel because they were that scared of what the fans were going to react to them. And it was Seth Rogen on his panel and Preacher, the Preacher panel, and he was like, at least we showed up. Like, you might not like the show, but at least we're here to take the shit from you. The D&D couldn't even turn up for their own panel because they were that scared. So that's it. That's Game of Thrones.
Right. So
I feel really hot after that now.
See, I think a lot of people will agree with you as well, though. That's the thing. So I was obsessed with Game of Thrones going into it, but again, I'm probably, I know it sounds probably hard to say never, but I probably wouldn't watch the show again, to be honest.
I would.
Yeah.
I would, because the first few series are absolutely brilliant. Like, Jamie's story, Jamie Lannister is just absolutely fantastic in that. And the scene with him and do you know what? I'd have just been happy if him and Brienne just went into the sunset and had adventures and just lived their lives. But no, that's not how they played it out. But that scene between him and Brienne when he's telling her about how we got the name Kingslayer just changed my opinion on Jamie Lannister so much. I just absolutely fell in love with him and just thought he was one of the most misunderstood characters. But they just didn't know how to write for these people because they didn't originally write for them, and they didn't give two shits to actually try and even us as fans can come up with things. How the hell could they not? Gets us so angry about it. And I'm sorry if people do disagree with us, but I can't see how they would. Nobody liked that last series.
Yeah. Probably it's like they said, they just didn't care. But Yeah, it's still a hard one to take. No, but
But it
to
is
be
still
honest,
gonna be tough.
if they ended it well, probably Game of Thrones would have been in my top 5.
If they do you know what though, Paul? If they did what they were asked to do and hand it off to somebody else and let somebody else take the reins on it, you would have gotten a dedicated person who actually give a shit about the show and not just the money that came out of it. Because that's all they give a shit about, was the money that came out of that show and went into their pockets. But if they handed the reins to somebody else, that show would still be going today.
True, very much so.
So there we go. Before I get even more angrier. Whew.
So moving on.
Yep.
So my last pick, and again, it's an unusual choice. It is a British show as well, but it's probably my favourite show I'll watch over and over again. It's dark. I think it's brilliantly written again. Is Luther with Idris Elba. Idris Elba, yep. Like even from, because I didn't see the first season when it first came out on BBC. It was Nick who got us into it. She was watching it. Like I think it was the second season. I was like, oh, what's this? And she explained the premise. Like, say it's like a cop show, but it's dealing with the really bad elements and like how far would you go to try and thing, and if you're on the edge as well, because it's a lot of the show is about mental health as well, because the main character Luther is clearly got a lot of problems. He's a super intelligent man, but he's got some demons inside himself. So I went back and watched the first season I think I watched it over 2 days, and it's absolutely the heartbeat. It's breathtaking and it's scary. It's emotional. Like the first episode, he's trapped. He's trapped trying to find a little girl in the first couple of minutes who's been hidden away by a paedophile, and he's got the paedophile hidden like in a warehouse, hanging off somewhere, and he's saying, "I'll save you if you tell me where the girl is." He tells him, and he lets him drop. So it's like puts you in a moral dilemma. Like, what would you do in that situation? You've got this horrendous, sick individual that's killed so many children. Would you let him fall, or would you tell him just? But he's always playing that line of like, is he a villain or is he good? Because the way he handles certain situations, he goes above the law. He takes it in his own hand.
Yeah.
Like I said, the cast in it as well. I fell in love with an absolute homicidal psychopath in Ruth Wilson's Alice. Absolutely breathtaking to look at, but completely sinister and terrifying at the same time. And like I said, it's got Paul McGann in the first season, like little Doctor Who fame as well. Like I said, someone from Game of Thrones played his ex-wife. She was called Idra Varma, I think. She was the actress that was the Viper's a sister, I think.
One of the sisters, one of the Viper, the what they're called, the Dawn.
Yeah,
I know who you mean.
And she
the Sand Snakes.
The Sand Snakes, but she was like the one who was in charge of them. But
the what? Auburn's. Illyria Sand.
Yeah, but she, like say, is trying to pull away from Luther, but still loves Luther, and like say, her story in the show is absolutely heartbreaking. I don't know if you've watched it yourself, or is it another one that you've not seen?
Not watched. Never really been interested. But I was talking to my sister the other night because Line of Duty ended.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to that.
No, but it was on the back of after watching Line of Duty, and she said it's something to do with British TV. They don't know how to end programs. Luther was exactly the same, and she said they just didn't know how to end it. And I was like, well, I don't have anything to reference that off because I've never seen it.
See, I thought they ended it quite well, because for all he's done so good, like in the work he does, like say he puts some seriously bad guys away. He breaks the law. He does things that he shouldn't do, and at the end, he gets arrested. So spoiler, sorry, spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
The last, like say the last episode, he's getting taken away in handcuffs, by his gaffer, who, like I say, which is quite ironic because in the first season, his gaffer in the later seasons is sent to investigate him, but then after it all happens, at the end of the first season, which again, it's heartbreaking. I'll be honest, it breaks you. But then, like I say, he becomes his gaffer. He's like he's called Dermot Crowley. He plays this part. He's like a old school police commissioner, but he's trying to keep Luther on the reins, which is hard to do. But his supporting cast as well is like a young lad in it. It's called DS Justin Ripley. He's like a mentor, like Luther's mentoring and stuff like that, teaching him the ropes. And he has, like, say, such a good partner as well. Like all the key elements is there. And there's an episode I absolutely adore where there's this really intelligent serial killer, and they know he's the killer, but he never leaves evidence to do it. So it's kind of like Luther's doing everything he can to track him down and trap him, to the point where he gets so fed up, he just walks up to him, punches him in the face, breaks his nose, and gets a handkerchief, puts on his face to get blood, and takes it to the crime scene and put blood all over the crime scene. Just to say, we know you've killed someone here, we've found the body, we haven't got the evidence. Now I've got the evidence.
Wow. I've never watched it. He's actually, if we go back to my topic, he's actually in The Office, Idris Elba. He plays Charles, who ends up making Michael leave and start Michael Scott Paper Company. And also Catherine Tate's in it as well. But yeah, Idris Elba's in that, and I can't bite him as Charles. That's probably why I've never watched Luther. I don't like Charles.
Possibly. But like I say, you can't not like Luther because his heart's in the right place. But it's a very dark show. It's gritty as fuck.
So his actions are just completely and utterly questionable.
Yes, it's like everything. It's like the results are justified, but then you think it's like, say, going beyond the law at times as well.
Yeah, because it's all well and good you saying I would do this, but would you do that? Because I always like, so one show that's not on my list, and if the last season or the last few episodes that they've done, I possibly would have put it on there, but The Walking Dead. I know a lot of people have a lot. I know a lot of people have a lot, and they are justified in what they say about The Walking Dead. But there was always like Laurie Grimes. If I was in that world, I'd have killed her. I could not wait for Laurie Grimes to die because she was so manipulative of two men who really, she was the one I'd say at fault. And I couldn't wait for her to. I would have quite easily done it myself. And then I'm like, but would I?
It's the only show that Nick, because I gave up on it a long time ago, that Nick watches, and after she watches, she's more angry after she's watched
like, she like perseveres so much with it. But I honestly think since Angela Kang's taken over as showrunner, I do think that it's getting a bit better. Like we've getting so much depth into Daryl that we've never actually seen before, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it since with the Whisperers and Angela Kang taking over. But these additional bits that they've done over the last few weeks or months has been piss poor an attempt of giving you The Walking Dead when it's like, just leave it and just start the next series and then we'll finish it. But no, so that was just a tangent on The Walking Dead, sorry.
No, it's fine. Like I said, I like talking about The Walking Dead because, like, to me, it had so much potential, but the problems I always had with it, there was so many nothing episodes, and that sounds strange saying a nothing episode, but nothing fucking happened. Nothing led the story. Nothing built on characters. Just it just seemed to be like, we don't know what to do in this episode, or we'll just pad it out to make it longer.
No, I totally get that, and what everyone says about it, they are completely justified. I've been one of those people who have, apart from the last series, I watched every episode on a Monday night without fail. But before that, I was very much, I'll watch the first few episodes of the series and then I will drop completely off the scale until the very last episode, and then I have to watch them all ready for the last one. And I did that for years because I could not bear the idea of missing out on something that I have watched since the day it came on FX. And I couldn't bear it. And I've had me absolute like heartbreak and anger over it. But I do, and I might be the only one here, but I really have enjoyed the last few series with the Whisperers and seeing and not having Rick there. That's been like such a breath of fresh air, not having the main focal point on him and his decision making. And let's see what somebody else would decide. I love Carol. Carol is like queen of the apocalypse for me. I absolutely love that woman. And I just think Daryl's been written so well. Like, he was always a one note for me. Like, he didn't say very much, and fine well he was going to get the job done. But on this series with the Whisperers, he hasn't been perfect, and he's starting to branch out with other people other than Carol. And I've loved that development of Daryl. I think it's been great. But again, it's people are valid in what they say about the program.
It's interesting what you're saying about Rick, though, because like I say, I know he's gone away now, but they've announced now that the film's going to come out. So welcome back, Rick.
I don't really care. I genuinely, I was a bit miffed that he was going in the first place, and then honestly, the episode afterwards where he was gone, I was like, oh, it's not about him anymore. Thank God. And I love the fact that like they did a time jump. That was the best thing they could have done for that program, was do a time jump, because they needed to move it on, and they need to move on as well. They need to be branching out further than what they actually are. That's another thing as well. They don't move very far. They set up camp and create communities that end up just going tits up anyway.
People like bullshit.
A little side tangent of Walking Dead there.
Well, we couldn't talk about top TV shows without talking about the top miss, shall we say.
So, do you want to know my last one?
Yeah, let's go.
I would like to know my last one because I can't decide on on which one I'm gonna pick. So I can't. This has been a week of. I quite easily got the first four, and the last one just got us. So I'm just gonna say Red Dwarf.
Right. Okay. Very good. Yes.
So Red Dwarf is I've been watching it since I was a kid. I watch it at least twice a year.
Yeah.
But the reason I toed and froed with it for is because I can only watch up to the point where Kachansky comes into it, and then I start losing interest.
That was awful.
Exactly. It was a bad choice. But up until then, I can watch.
Yeah.
I watch at least twice a year.
Like, see, I'm the same. I love Red Dwarf. Was my youth. That wasn't it Thursday nights, BBC Two used to be Red Dwarf night, I think.
And you not remember the weekend where they did a Red Dwarf weekend, and whole of BBC Two was just dedicated to Red Dwarf, and they did Ready Steady Coop with Red Dwarf, and but the whole thing, it was like behind the scenes, and it was a weekend. It was either a Saturday night or it was a whole weekend dedicated to it. I just remember being glued to BBC Two on it. It was brilliant.
For me, Red Dwarf was best when it didn't have a budget, when it was put together with like really bad shit.
Yeah, really bad props. And
I thought it was hilarious. Like, say, some of the cast in there, like Chris Barry is one of my all-time favourite comedy actors. And like I say, Craig Charles as Lister, and Crichton, and I can't remember.
Robert Llewellyn as Crichton, and Danny John Jules as the cat.
Yeah.
But
and some of the turns of the performance as well. My all-time favourite, Dwayne Dibley.
I'm Dwayne Dibley.
I cried with laughing at
that. I always, whenever I get angry, I get Lister's voice in my head going, Mr. Caspacho.
Again, it's a show that's just so quotable. Like, years I would just call people smegheads.
Everyone who went to school at our time when Red Dwarf was on didn't get away with a day without being called a smeghead. It was so funny, but I do get Rimmer's voice in me head when I'm angry, and it's just to calm us down by going, Mr. Gazpacho. It's the soup, isn't it? It's his death soup where he asked it to be heated up, and it was meant to be cold.
What was Rimmer's alter ego called?
Ace Rimmer.
Ace Rimmer. Fuck yeah.
Ace Rimmer, smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for breakfast.
Yes, that is a good show, but to me, as you said, it's not a complete success because it gets to a certain point and it becomes unwatchable. Exactly.
And this is why I toed and froed with it. So my other one was that I had slotted and a question mark next to it was Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I only started watching this at the beginning of the year. I've watched it 3 times. We're on our 3rd go, because as soon as we get to the last episode, we're like, let's go back and see what the gang did on episode 1. And we go straight back to the beginning again. There is not an episode in them whole 14 series that I did not physically wet myself laughing at.
Yeah.
The Christmas special where Charlie attacks Santa Claus and keeps asking if he fucked his mom is absolutely hilarious. And he ends up biting the proper chomps on Santa Claus while he's keep asking the question. It is some of the funniest writing. All like the 3 guys who are in it, Charlie Day, Glenn can't think of his surname, and Rob McElhenney. Mm-hmm. Rob McElhenney created it, and the other 2 are like co-creators and writers, and they're all writers on the show. But Dennis Reynolds is my all-time favorite character in any series, because watching Dennis develop into the sociopath that he is, and Dennis is a serial killer, is definitely 100% a serial killer. But watching his progression, like, oh God, what is it? Where he's in the hardware store with Mac, and he's talking about the getting women to come back with him. It's what's it called? I can't think. My brain's gone to absolute mush. The Game of Thrones thing's totally taken it out of us.
But yeah, so much emotion there.
Making of
exercise.
Making of a Serial Killer with Dennis Reynolds was genius. They're right. There has been a few questionable episodes with Always Sunny, especially the ones that you will not find on Netflix because they got pulled. Was the making of Lethal Weapon 5, where Rob and his wife, who plays Deandra, did blackface.
Oh.
And they pulled it from Netflix. Yeah. You can go and find them, but it was where they made Lethal Weapon 5.
I'd say it's one of the ones that's on my list to watch. I've seen a few bits. I know Nick's, again, she's blasted to them and she loves them. But yeah, the ones I've watched, I've cried laughing at, like I said, and I always thought the cast was quite brilliant as well. Like I said, all of them have done other things as well.
That's it. I'm just getting it online. It's the implication. The implication. He stands and basically he's telling Mac that he's going to make it seem to a woman that he's going to bring her back to his place and do this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. But he's not really. It's just the implication. And it's he's honestly, if you type in Dennis Reynolds, the next bit that comes up is serial killer. He is a flat out serial killer. But bringing Danny DeVito into it was just genius. And it was basically, the first series was on FX and it did well. It was okay. But the network said, you really have, because I think the first episode is like the gang get racist. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the second episode is like Charlie gets raped or something like that. Like they really push the boundary. Like the line is completely gone with them. Nothing is off the table. Mm-hmm. And there was said like the network said, you're good but you need something extra, and we're going to have to bring a big name in. And they all flat out, because they've all worked together for years, said no, it's not happening. They give them a list of people. Danny DeVito was top of the list, and they said no, flat out, we're not having him, it's not going to fit. And basically the network said, if you don't put him in it, you don't have a TV series. And they went, okay, Danny DeVito's in the show, and it works. Like, Frank Reynolds is one of the best characters Danny DeVito's ever played, beside the Penguin. But he's just absolutely brilliant. He's so funny, and they are the worst people in the world. They basically describe the show as Friends. If Friends were terrible people, this is Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because these are, like, Dee Reynolds is the worst human being ever. There is nothing that she will not stoop to. She once, that one of her, someone she was dating said that basically sleeping with her was rock bottom.
Oh dear.
Was him, and he was a stripper. And sleeping with Dee was his rock bottom. So she thingied a plan together. I can't even talk. Got a plan together to basically give him his real rock bottom, and that was getting him back into stripping, having his teenage daughter in the front row, and him gyrating in her face.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's how low Dee will go to get her own back. But it's just, the writing is genius, and there's nothing they won't do. Nothing. Even have a exercise bike that has a dildo attached to it. Nothing they will not do.
It's something I will try and go through, but it does sound my cup of tea. I'll be honest.
Funny. So that's why I was torn, because Red Dwarf does have a special place. I do watch it religiously at least twice a year, but when the Kachansky episodes come up, I turn it off. I do not like the fact that Claire Grogan is not Kachansky, and
Chris Barry.
Chris Barry was gone. He left, so I was not interested. But Always Sunny is just something that I've watched recently. So that's
I'm up there.
I didn't know, but that's it. That's my top 5.
Very good. Like I say, it's quite interesting that we didn't have a similar, like a single show that was the same. So that's quite good. That's what
I was worried about as well, that we might have something similar. I knew fine well you were never going to pick Game of Thrones. I knew that.
It's one of the things. Like, I did have some honourable mentions. And I'll name them now, and I'll tell you why they didn't make. First one was Scrubs. Now, I absolutely adore Scrubs. It's one of I still watch it time and time again, but they fucking ruined it with that. After that, when they tried to do the reboot, and they tried to do it like as a learning hospital and do it as a college type thing. Right. They had some of the characters come back, some of the characters didn't. After the perfect ending, that was, I think it was season 8, where they showed JD leaving the hospital, and they put a sheet up and they showed what was going to happen in the future, like with the kids growing up. That was, to me, Blackadder's going over going at no man's land is the most best ending to any TV show.
So powerful.
But Scrubs, that one was up there for me, in my opinion. And when they got Grady and decided we wanted to keep going, it spoiled it, and that's why that one is not in my top 5. Dexter, again, absolutely love Dexter. I've watched Dexter so many times, but that final season and the cop-out ending, where he's a lumberjack, pissed me off so bad.
Sit back a second, because if you thought I could get angry on Game of Thrones, Dexter is another one I can get really pissed off about as well. Dexter season 4 is it is the best series that was ever brought out. How I felt after the end of watching that, where the reveal of can't think of her name because my brain is like utter mush at the minute. The death of her, that was and the Trinity Killer. Every series I have watched after that has to hold up to how that series was, because it was fucking amazing. That it was brilliant writing, suspense, twist ending. What could you ask for? Acting spot on. And then we skip forward and we get to the last series, and Deborah fucking Morgan dies of a heart attack. You can go and fuck off. I have no interest in watching another series that's coming out, which probably is a big fat lie because I probably will end up watching.
Yeah, I was going to say that we'll watch that. I bet you £1 million we'll watch
probably will. But at the minute,
I'm hoping it's to rectify the mistakes that they've made.
Do you know what? If that is the case, then good on them, because then they've actually, because I don't think we'll ever get any redemption for Game of Thrones ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ever. So if they do come back and say, do you know what, we got it wrong, this is all right, but they can't bring Deb fucking Morgan back, and she was one of the best characters in there. She was absolutely, and she died of a heart attack. That is not what she deserved.
No. Again,
we didn't deserve it.
No, 100%. I agree. But like I say, with your words, Trinity that season, as a TV show, that was perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what I held. It's still to this day what I hold my standards to when it comes to TV shows.
Yeah. And another one on the list, which a lot of people have in the top fives, again, I loved, but to me, it's hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some episodes that drag on. There's some season, like, is the Sopranos.
Oh, I've tried so many times, and I just can't do it. I just can't get into it.
Yeah.
I wish I could, because I've heard so many good things, but I get to like this third episode and I'm like, I don't get it.
It's like I say, it's hard watch. It's one of the ones you have to be in the right mood. I know a lot of people say, I can watch it anytime. The acting in it is brilliant. The characters in it are phenomenal. If you like gangster films, fuck the Godfather, fuck Goodfellas. That is the ultimate gangster portrayal in my eyes, is the Sopranos. But again, it's hard. It's not a joyous watch at times.
Yeah.
You feel drained after watching. Another one of my all-time favourites. I can watch it 15 times, but it's the whole recasting things. It changed the cast too many times. Community.
I've never watched it.
It's, if you like pop culture and like things we do, like talk about things we do.
Yeah, I've heard
it's very reference, and like each episode's like a different type of TV or film. It's well done, but after a certain season, after like Donald Glover leaves, it just doesn't get just isn't as fun. And then Chevy Chase leaves, and they recast with different people. Like say, Alison Brie in it is absolutely phenomenal. She's standouts in it.
I bet Nicole Brown's in it, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, but she leaves after a while as well.
I do love Nicole Brown.
Mm-hmm. Frasier again, love Frasier, but it gets towards, I think, when Niles and Daphne get together again.
Wow,
goes downhill.
Okay. Wow, right. So Frasier is a massive thing in my house. My parents love it. My sister love it. I never got it until Daphne and Miles got together, and I thought that was some of the funniest writing of the series I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I always liked it up until that point. Then I kind of lost interest. And
it's not something I hold dear to us. But my parents and my sister love it, absolutely love it, and it's coming back.
Yep, no, it is. Yeah, but I'm going to be missing Eddie and the dad. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a sad one.
But the only one that did drop out of my top five recently, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The only reason Buffy didn't make the top was because of, again, the final season. I didn't enjoy how it ended.
I didn't watch it. I'm not a Buffy fan. I've watched, but don't get me wrong, I've watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I'm not you or Anne's loved it. It's in Anne's top five.
So them are honourable mentions that didn't quite make it.
My brain doesn't work like that. I literally, if you tell us five, I'm going to pick five. I can't. Otherwise, I'd be here all day. You mentioned Blackadder. It's another one. Like Blackadder, me and my sister can do you the whole of the first episode of series 2.
Mm-hmm.
We can just quote it to you. And we can do the whole thing because we actually had the scripts. We had the Blackadder scripts and we used to reenact it. I can quote Blackadder better than I can quote anything else. But it didn't hit the top because it's not something I've watched recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blackadder's a good one. That was really fun. Yep. I didn't think I was going to get as angry as I did.
No, it's fine. you can say if you've managed to stay with us through that, thank you very much. I know that one's probably just going to be quite a long
That's a lengthy
watch.
one. Yeah.
Yes, but I think it's quite enjoyable, and like I say, I'll be interested to get other people's opinions.
Definitely.
So again, like I say,
So,
comment on the video on YouTube, like, share,
subscribe, and we understand that if you YouTube, this isn't probably YouTube might not be the best platform to watch it on because it is going to be a lengthy chat. However, we're on iTunes and Spotify, so you can get it in your headphones, do your housework while you're listening to us, and listen to me lose my temper, which I can guarantee will happen multiple times throughout this whole podcast experience.
Very much.
So yes, remember YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Get yourself on the Facebook group. Get yourself on Instagram. We're on Instagram too, but the community page is on Facebook, and it is brilliant. I think it's hilarious. I got myself so choked up the other day just with how everyone is with it. I was trying to text you, and I was like, it's so emotional. Everyone's just getting on with everyone. So sad.
I don't know. I'm gonna turn it up and not go even sadder because with today being Star Wars Day.
Oh my god! Oh, look at him. Yes, I completely forgot to say happy Star Wars Day, everybody. May the Fourth be with you.
Yes.
So that's it. That's our top 5. Next week, it's going to be a surprise. I'm going to pick it, and I'm not going to tell Paul until later on.
No problem. Like I said, the podcast for next week might be out a little bit earlier just due to work and commitments, but we'll keep you up to date. And like again, same bat time, same bat channel. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.